Story 1. The Roommate. It was my first year of university, and the excitement of a fresh start quickly dulled into unease. I had just finished unpacking, my family's farewell still echoing in my ears when my roommate arrived. Dale. From the moment we met, something about him felt off. I introduced myself, extending my hand for a friendly shake. He stared at it like it was some alien gesture before awkwardly grabbing it with a limp grip. "Oh," he mumbled. That was it. No name, no pleasantries. I had to ask for his name. He was Dale. Small talk was futile. Yes? No? Sometimes a nervous laugh or a strained smile. Within minutes, silence blanketed the room. I hated it. This guy wasn't just awkward, he was unnerving. I decided to request a different roommate. That night, I returned to find Dale still glued to his laptop, sitting in the exact same position I'd left him in. He barely acknowledged me when I entered. Giving up, I turned off my lamp. It wasn't until 3 a.m. that he finally shut it down. Exhausted, I drifted off, only to wake up an hour later to a bone-chilling sight. The blinds were open, moonlight spilling into the room. Dale was sitting upright on his bed, staring at me. His silhouette was rigid, his head slightly tilted. "Dale," I hissed, my voice trembling. "What the hell are you doing?" "Sorry," he whispered and lay back down without another word. The next morning, Dale was gone, and I thought I'd get a reprieve. But during orientation, I spotted him crouching in the school gardens, rubbing the bark of a tree with his hands. Students whispered, some laughing nervously. I muttered he was my roommate, and the looks of pity I received spoke volumes. That evening, I came back to find Dale sitting stiffly in the desk chair, facing the door. I greeted him cautiously. He didn't reply. As I opened my laptop, dread settled in. My emails had been opened. Files I hadn't touched were now accessed. "Dale," I asked firmly, "did you go through my laptop?" His denial was immediate and loud. "No." His defensiveness confirmed my suspicion, but I said nothing. I was leaving the next day. It wasn't worth the confrontation. That night, I woke to the sound of a zipper. Turning on my lamp, I found Dale rummaging through my bag. "What the hell are you doing?" I snapped. He froze, eyes wide like a deer caught in headlights. "I thought you had my toothbrush." The excuse was laughable, but I let it go. I just needed to survive one more night. The next night in my new dorm, I finally felt some relief. My new roommate was normal, quiet, but around 3 a.m., I woke to a strange clicking sound. It was coming from the door. I crept closer, peering through the peephole. A scalp, pale, sweaty, hovered on the other side, the clicking persistent. I called campus police, barely able to explain what was happening. When they arrived minutes later, I opened the door to find Dale in cuffs, his face eerily calm. He'd been trying to break in. Dale disappeared after that night, and I never saw him again. But even now, years later, I sometimes wake up in the middle of the night, expecting to see him sitting in the dark, staring. Story 2. The Woods. At Binghamton University, my friends and I found solace in the school's nature preserve. The far side of the lake had a clearing, perfect for fires and late-night beers. It was secluded, free from prying eyes, and on a crisp October night, it was just the three of us, the firelight, the woods, and a few cans of beer. Laughter echoed as the alcohol warmed our spirits. But as the night deepened, so did the shadows. A crunch of leaves silenced us. Someone or something was nearby. We froze listening. Snap, a tree branch broke, closer this time. We doused our bottles in the lake, paranoia spiking. The fire made us vulnerable, its light drawing attention to our little camp. The sound circled us, a slow, deliberate path through the undergrowth. "Who's out there?" one of my friends whispered, his voice shaking. Then, without warning, a branch hurtled through the air, landing with a dull thud in the fire center. One of my friends bolted, his panic infectious. Before I could process what was happening, another branch flew, striking my other friend square in the face. Blood dripped down his cheek, and the shock of it jolted us into action. Grabbing our backpack, we ran. At the edge of the woods, we paused, gasping for breath. But the terror wasn't over. Footsteps, heavy, deliberate crunch behind us. Whoever it was hadn't given up. They stopped just short of the road, retreating into the shadows when cars passed. We never saw their face, only the silhouette of someone or something that watched us from the trees. Back in the dorm, laughter returned, masking the fear. But in the light of day, we all agreed we'd never return to the woods after dark. Something sinister lurked there, and we weren't eager to find out what it was. Story 3, The Knocking. My dorm room was a haven of privacy, tucked away in a secluded corner of the floor. But isolation can be a double-edged sword. The first knock was faint, almost polite. I barely heard it over my study. When I opened the door, no one was there. I stepped into the hall, my heart thudding, but it was empty. The next night, the knocking returned, louder, more insistent. I flung the door open, hoping to catch the prankster, but again, nothing. This time, I sprinted down the hall, catching a glimpse of a figure disappearing around a corner. My pursuit led me to the communal bathroom. The door creaked open, revealing darkness. I turned on the light. The stalls were closed. Kneeling, I peered under the doors. Boots, large, black, and heavy, sat in one stall. My courage faltered as a low, raspy chuckle echoed through the empty bathroom. Back in my room, the knocking returned, relentless. I ignored it, my body trembling under the covers. Whoever, or whatever, was out there eventually gave up, but the laughter haunted me for nights to come. Even now, I wonder about those boots. Who wore them, and why did they choose me? Comment below, Chills, if you want more horror stories.